What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Bad Diggity Dizzle, and I got to say I'm super excited tonight because I've got three of the best content creators on YouTube joining me tonight. LB, always a pleasure to have you on the channel. I've worked with you before, so thank you for coming back. LawNation, Louie Tee, welcome to the channel. It is an honor to work with you guys. I got to say right off the bat, I hate all your teams, but I'm big fans of all three of you guys. So thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it.
Likewise.
Yeah,
most certainly, man. Go ahead, Louie Tee.
Appreciate it, man. Honor to be here, man. I'm blessed that you asked me to even come be on the show. And like you said, man, can't stand any of you. But as I always say on my channel, man, it's family business, man. Who knows the family better than other family members, man? So looking forward to chopping it up with y'all, talking about the family and how the division might shake out this year, man.
This is going to be great. So what I want to do, I'm just going to have most of the guys and girls in the chat probably know who you guys are. But if they don't, I'm just going to have you guys introduce yourself. We'll start with LB since he's to my immediate left. Then we'll go to LawNation and Louie Tee. If you guys haven't subscribed to these three awesome content creators, all of the links to their channels are in the description. Go in there, click on the link, sub them up, hit that bell notification so you know when they're dropping their content. Trust me, you will not be sorry. Nick DeWick, thank you for the super chat. Brother Brilly, he says, just to start it off, Eagles stink. I appreciate that. Chris Devers, thank you for the super chat. Brother I'm not going to be able to keep up with this tonight. You guys are unbelievable already, man. Chris Devers, thank you for the super chat. Brilly. Very excited to see my man Lou and Baddog talking East football. If I owned a team, I'd have Lou as GM, Baddog as head coach. Brunson can be the water boy and Law as the bus driver. Weekend boys watching the OGR, you're amazing, brother. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Brilly says, love to see the roundtables like this. All that being said, I'm assuming most, if not all of you, saw the top 10 coaches list by CBS. We all know how Lord Brunson feels. Where do the rest of you think Doug Peterson falls in this? We will get to that, as well as a lot of other. Big Moose, thanks for the super chat. Brilly. Legendary discussion. My guy LB, what up, fam?
What's going on, man? It's Lord Brunson, man. Philadelphia Eagles enthusiast, man. You know, I'm in the building with Baddog and the fellas. We're going to chop it up.
LawNation, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, you guys can check me out at LawNation, the one that's representing the NFC East. Everybody else, y'all using neck muscles to look up to the Dallas Cowboys. I know it's been since 1995. I know it. But even on our vacation, I can say this. The Eagles, shout out to you guys, and also the Giants. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you because y'all been doing y'all deal with Eli. Oh, Eli. But y'all got our coach now, Jason Garrett. I can't wait to see him. Clapping on the sideline.
Louie Tee, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's your man Louie Tee here, host of the Louie Tee Network. Appreciate you guys having me on the program. Huge Redskins fan. Love the NFC East. And look, we got a long way. We at the bottom of the barrel right now. But I'm telling you right now that the future is looking bright. We're excited about the direction we're moving in. And you can't tell me nothing about where we're going right now.
I hear that. Trust me. As a team that's won 12 games in the last 3 years and hasn't beaten the Eagles or Cowboys since 2016, I'm ready for a change. Yeah. Let me ask you guys a couple of questions to get your thoughts on this. I'm going to start with you, LawNation, and then we'll go to Louie Tee and Lord Brunson. Give me your predictions for each team's record in this division in 2020.
Oh, wow. I wasn't ready for that.
You know, I got some good questions for you guys. Trust me. Baddog did homework.
Look, objectively speaking, I'm not going to be one of the Cowboys fans to say 13-3, 12-4 for the Cowboys. But I will say that we do have the possibility to go 11-5. I think that the dark horse or the people that a lot of people are missing out in this particular division, the Redskins. I look at what they did. They brought in a new coach. They bringing in some new philosophy as it relates to that defensive front. And everybody know the game is won down in the trenches. They can run the ball well. And on top of that, their front four looking nice, or whatever you want to call it. So that's the team that I'm really going to be looking after. And then I would say the mighty Philadelphia Eagles, right? If I can say that, Lord Brunson. Hey, my thing is the Eagles been talking all about, hey, wide receivers, we need help. They went and got a Jalen Reagor. Don't you know his comp is Nelson Aguilar?
I do know that.
Can't catch a cold, baby. I think that right now he can't catch COVID. That's just the reality of it. He can't catch.
Who you talking about? You talking about Galen or you talking about Nelson?
I'm talking about both.
One don't play for us no more. We'll get into it.
But I will say this: the kid from TCU, I love his tape as it relates to what he can do on the end of rounds, short passes, smoke screens, and things like that. So if you can get him comfortable within the confines of your system, and of course if Carson Wentz can stay up on his two legs, then you guys have a good situation. And I do like Miles, the running back. I think that he can bring an extra to the table if they give him the full entree this year. So it's a toss-up. I would say that the Redskins will go 9-7. I think that the Eagles will go 8-8, and then the Giants, fortunately, they will be still looking up to all of us.
All righty. L.A. Gorilla, thanks for the super chat, brother. Brilly says Lord Brunson, the best Eagles YouTuber, but he's straight bugging if he thinks Wentz is even close to as good as Lamar Jackson. And Chris Devers, Brilly says, been on Lou's team since the whiteboard, #Devers. Louie Tee.
Yeah.
Give me your predictions for the NFC East records.
Oh, man. So I think that it's still Dallas and Philadelphia fighting out for the right to be NFC East champions. I think that us and the Giants are a year away, but best believe in 2021, someone's coming up off the chip, and they're going to have to realize that we're here to stay. And so I don't think that's going to be the case in 2020. However, I think this is one of those rebuilding years where trying to fill out the roster, figure out what we got going on at the quarterback position. I'm sold, but, a lot of people aren't. So I think this is a big year for Dwayne Haskins. I fully expect him to come out guns a-blazing and really show everyone why he was the 15th pick in the draft and why he should have went ahead of Daniel Jones. But when it's all said and done, I think the Redskins are anywhere from 8-8 to 6-10. I think they're more closer to the 6-10 than they are the 8-8. But, ball bounces our way. We get a couple of teams on some poor weeks where they got some injuries or something along those lines, and easily could be an 8-win team, maybe even 9 if you press your luck. But when it's all said and done, I think the Cowboys have the most talent in the division. I think that's apparent to me. I can't speak for anybody else out there. I think the Cowboys are the most talented team. I talk about this every year when I break down the drafts. The Cowboys they know how to draft. Say what you want about Jerry and Steven and company out there. They know how to draft talented football players. For whatever reason, they have some issues with getting the most out of that talent and getting that talent to yield playoff victories. But you talk about regular season and you talk about talented football teams, you're not going to find many more talented in this league than the Cowboys. The Eagles, I thought their draft, and look, Howie usually does a pretty good job. I said he's one of those guys that grocery list drafts, bread, egg, cheese, milk. He gets in, he gets out, usually gets what he needs and gets out of there. I thought he tried to get a little too cute this year. Did not like the Eagles draft at all. But I did like the fact that they went and got a quarterback because we all know Carson Wentz cannot stay healthy. So I thought that was imperative. But I think the Eagles are going to be in second. I think the Cowboys are going to be 11-5 or 10-6. I think the Eagles are 10-6 or 9-7. And I think the Giants actually are going to be a lot better than people think. I think the Giants are 7-9 and the Redskins are 6-10.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
We're going to get into the draft a little bit. Real quick, JJ Trill, thanks for the super chat. Brilly says DJX is working with the better quarterback. Wentz is soft. And NYG31, thank you for the super chat, my man. Brilly. LB, give me your record predictions.
That was really magical, guys, from Law and Louie. I really enjoyed it. I did. But listen, this was going to happen. And I haven't been wrong in 3 years. This was going to happen. What's going to happen is this. The Eagles are going to be 11-5.
Okay.
The Giants are going to be 9-7. The Giants are going to take that step before
I
anybody.
like it.
The Giants are going to be 9-7. I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you why the Giants are going to be 9-7. Daniel Jones. The man who had more completions than Lamar Jackson while playing fewer games. That guy, Daniel Jones, is going to continue to, get some legs under him, get his feet wet. And I think Daniel Jones really going to take a huge step forward just to be the second best quarterback in the division. Because
Woo! Shots fired. Pop, 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 pop.
No. He ain't gonna be better than. Listen, Carson Wentz is a top 3 quarterback.
Okay, I'm not discounting it. Did you just forget that Dak Prescott? Now he's only gonna be in the division for 1 more year, but did you forget Dak Prescott is in the division?
Yeah, but 4,900 passing yards, 2,000-yard receivers, a 1,300-yard running back, and you still go 8-8. I don't believe him. That's not scary to me. Let me drink anyway, the Eagles.
Yeah, take a sip, Law. Take a sip.
The Giants 9-7, and y'all 2 other guys could fight for the 6-10 apiece. That's how I was looking. I'm not afraid of the Redskins at all, and I mean that. Listen,
I say the same thing about the Eagles. If you ask me, if somebody said, "Hey, Louie Tee, what's the one? If you got to go get one on the road in the division, where's the one place you're not afraid to go?" I'm without hesitation. Take me to Philly. Take me to the Link.
When was the last time
I can go get one there?
When was the last time you won there? You should be.
I don't know. That's besides the point. We can go there and get one. If I need to go get one, I don't want to. Don't take me to the Meadowlands. Don't take me to New York. Struggle there every year. Don't take me to Dallas. First of all, can we stop playing on Thanksgiving, please?
Come on, let's play on
Thanksgiving. Please. I don't want no more.
Turkey.
Louie, I want to know when can you go to the Link and get one, and what time machine we got to step in to see that? I haven't seen that in a very long time.
I tell you, wasn't it not too long ago that we had beat you 7, 8 times in a row?
Wow.
You stepped that.
That had to be long ago. That had to be long.
No. It was what, 2017? I think you beat us for the first time. What was it? Since what? Yeah, it was a 7-game win streak we had to get shot.
So you going back to 2016? What year was that?
Yeah. You just said it. 2016.
Okay. Because
the first game, I think it was 2017 season. The very first game of the 2017 season, y'all came in there with Wentz, and y'all beat us. Mm-hmm. I remember the end of that game. Fletcher Cox. It wasn't even a fumble. They called it a fumble. He ended up taking it to the crib. That put us out of our misery. That started Carson Wentz kicking our ass for the last however many years. But like I said.
And that's where we are right now. Y'all have to work to change that. That's where we are.
Yeah. But you misconstruing the situation. If I had to go somewhere and get a win, I'm going to choose Philly. That's the lesser of the 3 evils. I'm not choosing. I'm going to Philly. Okay. Nothing scares me about the Eagles.
It should. Okay. It should. If you ain't beat us in 3 years, I don't know how you got even. We
were so horrible last year that we were rooting to lose to you, and we still almost beat y'all. Okay, almost beat y'all.
All right.
What was that? Week 15?
All right.
Week 15?
All right, ready, guys? Wait, we got more. Oh, this is gonna get better.
Okay, yeah.
Super chats real quick. Juan Gotti, thanks for the super chat. Brilly says Louie Schooley's Cats 5-11, 9-7. HTTR, we up next. JJ Trilla, Brilly. He says, Bird fans, man, when they put New York over us. John Dunham, thanks for the super chat. Brilly says Carson Wentz plays 2 full seasons and only missed 8 games. That's pretty small. And take flight. Brilly, my good man. Saints on the Eagles. In case anybody's wondering what Brilly is, instead of dilly one night I was watching the Cowboys and I forgot who they were playing actually, but I saw Jason Garrett's wife name was Brill. Kind of thought that was funny, so he changed dilly to Brilly, and sure enough, he's our offensive coordinator now. I think the Cowboys and Eagles go 9-7 apiece. Eagles win the division on the tiebreaker. I think the Giants and Redskins each go 6-10. Listen, we all got very tough schedules this year, guys. I think, but this is the thing. I don't think the Redskins or Giants are out of this division. Whatever, we're going to have to beat up on each other because the easiest games we play are against each other. It's except for maybe Cincinnati, but we have a very tough schedule.
Yeah, don't discount the Bengals either. If Joe Burrow is what we think he could be, they could be a lot better than people think right away.
And again, guys, we got almost 400 people in here, so thank you so much. If you haven't spiked that like button, hit that thumbs up for me. More importantly, if you haven't done so, guys, the link to all 3 of these guys, the links to their channels are in the description. Please do me a favor, subscribe to each one of these guys. They do a great job. This question's going to get us talking. This one's going to get us talking. We're going to start with Louie Tee. This is a good one. You guys are talking about quarterbacks. Rank the quarterbacks in the division from best to worst. We'll start with you, Louie Tee.
Oh, that's an easy question, man. Carson Wentz is 1, Dak's 2, Dwayne Haskins is 3 and Daniel Jones is 4.
LB, go ahead.
Carson Wentz is 1. Dak is 2 by the hair. I'm talking about the hair on his chin.
What is this disrespect?
What disrespect?
Why are you disrespecting Dak Prescott this way? I don't understand.
It's not disrespect.
Why do you think, first of all, before we even get to the disrespect, why do you think Daniel Jones is this good? Did I miss something?
No. Listen,
He's good, Louie.
Daniel Jones, I'm trying to listen. Did you not see his season?
I did. I realized there were 5 games. If you take away 5 games, he was horrible last year.
If Joe Burrow puts up Daniel Jones stats, he win Rookie of the Year.
Depends on. Did you forget about Chase Young? Maybe you forgot about Chase Young because you're gonna know Chase Young week 1.
Ain't no defensive end.
You're gonna know Chase Young week 1. Andre Dillon, he's meat. All right,
based off some college tape.
We're gonna get into all that.
There's a reason why y'all still got Jason Peters on speed dial.
Louie Tee came with the heat.
Okay? There's a reason you got Jason Peters on speed dial. Andre Dillon is about to be meat.
We're gonna get into it, Louie. Let me answer the question real quick.
Go ahead, answer your question.
Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott narrowly. Then I got Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins. Louie, you should not be worried so much about Dak Prescott. You should worry about the 4th place dude, Haskins.
He wasn't 4th on my list. And I'm not worried because I expect my man to come through big time this year, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I think he's colorblind.
Let me hit these off real quick. Nick DeWick, thanks for the super chat. Brilly, what teams everyone hate the most? We'll get into that later. Desert Eagle, Brilly, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it, guys. Love this collab for true fans, but it's all about Midnight Green. What up, Brunson, L.A. Garola, Brilly, thanks for the super chat. He says, I agree with LB. DJ already the second best quarterback in the division. Wentz needs to stay healthy. He's top 10 when healthy. Dwayne Haskins is a bust. Hot Nichols, thanks for the super chat. Brilly. Skins should pick their own stadium. SS's stand up. Let's go. Let's go Giants. Danny Dimes been an all NFC quarterbacks in the future. Jason Garrett helps him. Team Triple G. Brilly. Thanks for the super chat. Niners sweeping the NFC East. That's a possibility. JJ Trilla, thank you for the super chat, brother. Brilly. Wentz is so elite. He had 3 passing yards and a fumble since being drafted in the NFC East quarterback rankings. 1 Dak, 2 Dalton, 3 Hurts, 4 Wentz, 5 Jones, 6 Haskins. LawNation. Rank your quarterbacks.
Somebody got to speak some reality to you guys, man. Dak Prescott versus all 3 of y'all teams is above 500 versus your team. And on top of that, out of the quarterbacks within the confines of this particular division, I think, and the last time I checked, he's the only one with a playoff victory opposed to anybody else that's in this particular in this particular run of quarterback style or quarterback ranking. So I want you guys to pump the brakes and go ahead and just say this with me. Dak Prescott, number 1. Carson Wentz, number 2, because he's still trying to find that playoff win, right? Let me know if I'm lying. And then I have to put up, maybe I give Daniel Jones some love right here. Then Haskins, he got to prove himself. Nevertheless, Haskins this year will have the defense, and I love the Ohio State play when he was playing down that lane. I really think that we will see a better Haskins this year opposed to what he did in the exhibit in the zoo last year. So it's a toss-up between those two.
I love this. This is good stuff. New York for life. Brilly. He says, Jones is 4th T. Can you speak up? I can't hear you from the basement. Oh, all right. Simon Z. Brilly says, respect Brunson, DJ, and Wentz have good battles. All right, here you go. Wentz is number 1 in this division. I don't think it's close. I think when Wentz is healthy, he's at least a top 7, top 6 quarterback in this league, maybe even top 5. Daniel Jones is number 2, guys. That's right, Giants fans. Daniel Jones is number 2. And I'm going to tell you why Dak is not. Dak Prescott, listen to this. Listen to these stats, guys. Dak Prescott against the Giants, the Skins, the Lions, and the Dolphins, 4 of the 5 worst teams in the league, was 6-0. 2-8 versus everybody else. 1-6 versus teams over 500. He threw 30 touchdowns last year. 14 of those were against Washington and New York. So 16 touchdowns in 12 games. He's a little bit overrated. He has the best situation of any quarterback in this division, the best line, one of the best running backs. So I think Dak Prescott benefits from the guys around him. I don't think he's as good as Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is athletic. Daniel Jones is accurate. I'm a Giants fan. Danny is my guy.
You just described. I don't know if you noticed. You just described Daniel Jones' season. What you just did. You just sub out teams, sub in teams, and you just described. He threw 5 touchdowns against us last year. He did. Okay? He had what did he do against Tampa Bay? 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns against them. He had 5 good games. You take those 5 games away. He was terrible last year. How many fumbles did he have?
You take those 2 bad games away. Take the 2 bad games away against Green Bay and New England, where he threw 6 picks. He only threw 6 picks against the rest of the league. That's pretty impressive.
Why are we padding these stats? Because there's historical data out there that can support that the fact that even Drew Brees is not that great as it relates to against winning teams and everyday games. But nevertheless, when you think about it, like you just said, Louie Tee, Daniel Jones, I think that the Giants this year, y'all went and drafted what? Offensive lineman, right?
Hell yeah.
Early. First in maybe in the 3rd or 2nd, something like that.
Yeah,
first in the 3rd, right?
First and 5th.
And you guys got a brilliant Saquon Barkley, so it should be 0 excuses. Y'all should get 10 wins at the end of the year. I don't want to hear it. He got a dominant offensive line. He got a fantastic, great running back. And on top of that, y'all didn't do anything with the wide receivers. That's on y'all. That's on y'all. That's on y'all.
He's gonna throw it to Darius Slayton, or obviously.
Hold on. Who did Dak Prescott throw to? Old Dez Bryant? We had to go make some. I'm talking about from 2016 to now. I'm just saying, if we want to use all of these dates and stuff like that, but when we got Amari Cooper, I think that there's a certain stat out there that Dak Prescott to Amari Cooper is pretty much top in the NFL.
Not on the road, Law. Not on the road, though. They are terrible. Amari is terrible on the road, and this is the thing about Dak Prescott.
Talk to me.
All Dak Prescott needed, and this is why I got him barely above Daniel Jones now. All he needed to win a division last year was 1 game-winning drive, Law. Just 1. It could have been against anybody that they lost to, and they are NFC East champs.
Let me talk about this then. And I'm not trying to use this as a handicap, but I will say that Dak Prescott was throwing the ball all over Minnesota Vikings. And then the coach that's over there for the Giants, he said, let's run the ball with Ezekiel Elliott, where we had the game right at our fingertips. And Dak Prescott against the Saints game, that was not his fault. Jason Witten, older than Methuselah. Hold on. Older than Methuselah, playing basketball with the football, and Ezekiel Elliott, the fumble that never happened but occurred to happen. And then all of a sudden, they say that those 2 things were fumbles. I think that those 2 things never happened. Dak Prescott win those 2 games. Let me just pump the brakes right here. Did you guys see the Patriots game? Phantom 2, not 1. 2 tripping calls that never been called in the history of the NFL, and all of a sudden that loss is on Dak Prescott. If you remove those 2 games, we're in the playoff.
This is the difference, and I think we all can agree on this. Dak Prescott had, I think it was 4 games where he didn't throw a touchdown pass at all last season. 3 or 4. They lost each and every one of those games. You can't even rely on Dak Prescott with those weapons to get you a ball from his hand in the end zone to a wide receiver's hands. He's not guaranteed that. In the meantime, Carson Wentz threw a touchdown pass in every single game last season. Only quarterback in the league to do that with lawn chairs as wide receivers.
True.
If he was throwing a touchdown pass, he found a way every game to throw at least 1 touchdown pass. Carson Wentz is worth the money. He's worth his weight in gold. Dak ain't going to get paid until Dak finds a way to win without nothing. He can't do it.
So Joe Montana won all of those Super Bowls with nothing. Troy Aikman won with nothing.
John
Elway, he won with nothing.
John Elway, Troy Aikman, whoever, Johnny Unitas, whoever you want to dig up, never threw for 4,000 passing yards and didn't have a wide receiver get 500 yards. Carson Wentz, the only person in the history to do that.
Shout out to him. How many playoff games did he win?
If Dak Prescott got to play with Wentz had to play with, they win 3 games. 3 games.
All right,
I think you discounted your coach, man. Your coach put people in the right positionings, and on top of that, they utilized it. Look, give me your tight ends, And that would have been a different story, but that's a story of a different day.
Rock and Rob, thanks for the super chat. Brilly, this is Baddog. You got to chime in on your question too. Well, I let these guys answer. I answer them at the very end. Lenny D, thanks for the super chat. Brilly, Andre Dillard put Khalil Mack on lock. Nobody's scared to Chase Young. Cruise on 26. Brilly says Louie Tee is still upset that coaching staff from last year. Whoops, where'd that go? Coaching staff from last year really wanted Daniel Jones and had to settle for Haskins. You still the man, Louie Tee. Philly
I'm good. I'm so glad. I was begging the Giants to take him off our plate. I didn't want him even available at 15. Glad they did us a favor.
I don't think you really believe that. Philly Van Diem, really says Dak TD ratio is 8-8 versus the Eagles. Wentz is 12-2. Your typical so-and-so. Thanks for the super chat. Brilly, how do you rank the defenses in this division? We will get to that in a second. We're going to take your questions. You guys in the chat, like the second half of the stream. We're gonna take your questions as well. Simon Z, Brilly says Rodgers threw 2 touchdowns against the Skins. Jones threw 5. Johnny T, thanks to the super chat. Brilly says Dak had the worst coach of all the QBs people compare him to. Coaching matters. So that was Kellen Moore's offense, not so much Jason Garrett's, in my opinion. Sajid Syed, Brilly says Josh Allen had 17 sacks and got wrecked by Andrew Thomas. Chase Young is next. I like seeing that I got some Giants representation in here. Barboski, thank you for the super chat. My man, Brilly, great stuff, fellas. What do you guys think of the new playoff format? And I got some VHS tapes if you want to watch Dallas Super Bowl highlights.
That's
all right. By the way, we got almost 500 people in here again, guys. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Amazing crowd. Hit that thumbs up. More importantly, guys, do me a favor if you haven't done so. The links to each one of these gentlemen's channel is in the description. Go in there, click on it, sub them up, ring the bell notification so you know when they drop new content in case you're not subscribed to these guys. And thank you guys for blowing the stream up. This has been awesome so far. I love it.
Right.
We hate each other's teams. We discuss this off camera. We are the best division in the history of the NFL.
Absolutely. Yeah, love it.
All right, guys.
We can all agree on that.
Here's another question. Give me, I don't even remember where I started last time. So we're going to start with LB this time. Give me your biggest strength and the biggest weakness on the Eagles.
The biggest strength is definitely the head coach. I mean, Doug Peterson is probably a top 3 coach in the game. If somebody go down, he could Band-Aid that up real quick. They could find somebody off the streets and win. You know what I mean? The biggest weakness, I think, is the defensive coordinator scheme. I think Jim Schwartz's scheme is just terrible. He has a lot of cornerbacks that play a lot of one-on-one, and they get smoked. And he know they're going to get smoked, and he still puts them in that situation every week. So he goes out there and get Darius Slay. I like Darius Slay. I love him. But at the end of the day, playing one-on-one every down, somebody going to win over you at some point. And at some point, it could be for a 75-yard bomb, and that could be game. Use your safeties and you know, get somebody some help sometimes. So I think the biggest strength is Doug, and the biggest weakness is definitely the scheme of Jim Schwartz.
All right. Mr. LawNation, what do you think the Cowboys' biggest strength, the biggest weakness is this year?
Right. The biggest strength for the Cowboys will be their offense. I think that they was number 1 in collective yards last year. Just didn't punch it into the red zone, money zone, green zone. And that's one of their biggest strengths. The weakness is right now is the unknown. There's not the COVID is challenging right now. We got a new coaching staff. So I'll be unwise to say that without us having the level of continuity, we just don't know. And this defense, it's a brand new makeshift defense, hybrid in a sense. Yes, we got some playmakers on the ball now, but we don't know. The secondary is scary. We just don't know. So we heading into this season, if there is one, blindly in those categories. So my only thing is hoping that coaching can elevate some of the things, everything that people liked about the Minnesota Vikings defense from 2014 to 2019. We went and got their defensive coordinator, and he's one of our positioning coach. And we went and got a Mike Nolan. If everything you like about the Saints on how they played and operate with their linebackers, now he's our defensive coordinator. So we went and got some experiences as it relates to pieces, but the reality of it is that we don't know. So that's the biggest weakness, in my opinion.
Yeah, those are very interesting takes. I mean, John Dunham, thanks for the super chat. Brilly says, Barboski, make sure you blow all the dust off those Cowgirl Super Bowl tapes because they sure hella dusty. Yeah, Louie Tee, what do you think that
Ours is dustier than this.
What do you think the Skins' biggest strength and biggest weaknesses this year?
I just want to piggyback off of Law. I think 3 out of the 4 teams in this division are, you could say, unknown. It's killing us because the Eagles, Lord Brunson's crew, they're the only ones coming back with pretty much their entire coaching staff.
Facts.
So all of us have new coaches. All of us have a lot of different shifts in our offensive and defensive philosophies and a lot of moving parts. So I think the Eagles, just from that standpoint, which I think they win the division, is probably why they have a little bit of an advantage over everybody else. But when you look at the Redskins, I think the talent on the defensive line is our strength. We got 4 number 1 on the first round draft picks on that defensive line. If you throw in Ryan Kerrigan, who's probably going to be coming off the bench, you're talking 5 first-round picks invested on that defensive line. We're going with that San Francisco 49ers model where you just try to bludgeon people to death with your front 4 and allow the rest to kind of follow. And so now we're hoping that Chase Young comes in and has the kind of impact that Nick Bosa had last year for the 49ers. And so the defensive line, without a doubt, is our strength of our football team right now. You look at the offensive side of the football, and the weakness is at the tight end position. You could talk left tackle. We don't know really the left side of the offensive line. We got a battle at left guard. I think we all know who's going to win that battle as Redskins fans, but there's still a positional battle there to be had. Left tackle, big question mark. Is the guy on the roster right now, or isn't he on the roster? I think that guy is on the roster, but tight end, we don't have a guy. We don't have a guy. Everybody in the division has at least a guy that can scare you in some way, shape, or form. Hell, even Blake Jarwin can scare you. I was sniffing around Blake Jarwin in free agency, like, "Hey, Blake, what's good?" He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go back to Dallas." All right, man, no worries, it's all good. But we don't have anything. We're experimenting with guys. We're picking up other people's trash, and so the tight end position it's what's really handicapped us from running the football as effectively as we would like to. We don't get good blocks in the run game from our tight ends, so it hampers us there. Now we don't even have guys that are pass catching threats. At least in the past with Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed, we did have that. We don't even have that now. So the tight end position right now, especially for a young quarterback, that's a young quarterback's best friend is the tight end. And we just don't have a guy that's reliable right now. So the tight end position would be our biggest weakness.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point about the coaching staff. The Eagles definitely have a huge advantage there, seeing as the players are familiar with the systems. Where all 3 of us have new systems, and because of the whole COVID thing, we haven't been able to have OTAs, mini camps, haven't been able to actually get together with the coaching staff and everything else. So that definitely is a huge weakness, I think, for all 3 of us. For the Giants, I think it's pretty obvious. Saquon Barkley's our strength. I mean, we have to ride him. We drafted 3 linemen this year. We added Cam Fleming for depth. We're going to need Nate Solder to play much better than he did last year, without a doubt. I think he moves over to the right side. I think the Chase Young, Andrew Thomas thing is going to be great for years to come. I'm looking forward to that. And no doubt, I mean, we have no pass rush. That's our weakness. And I love our secondary. I like what we've done over the last 2 years, but these guys are very young. They're very inexperienced. And even the most experienced secondary is going to struggle when quarterbacks have time to survey the field if you're not getting pressure on them. Right. So we have to find a way to get different pressures. I like what we've done with the coaching staff. I know Cowboys fans get on for Jason Garrett, but I think Jason Garrett was very good with quarterbacks. He developed Tony Romo. He developed Dak Prescott. These guys are winners, regardless. Dak Prescott's won 13 games a couple years, I believe. Tony Romo did the same thing. Not so great when they get in the playoffs, but that's, regardless, he did make those guys a lot better. I think he'll help Daniel Jones immensely as well. We got to use play action. I think you're going to see that. I think Shermer did not allow Daniel Jones to be Daniel Jones last year. Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones against Tampa. You saw him run for 2 touchdowns, throw for 2 touchdowns. He's just out there playing football. Then I felt like they made him think a little bit too much instead of just reacting, which, some quarterbacks do better with that. But there's no doubt we need a pass rush. I love Chase Young. I mean, I wanted Chase Young in the worst way, but I obviously knew that he wasn't going to fold us, after we beat the Redskins, which regardless, I like watching Landon Collins get burned. I hate Landon Collins. I hated him when he was here, and I'm glad you guys paid him all that money because he stinks. It's bad. All right. Here's another question.
Y'all got my dog, though, Xavier McKinney. I really love his skills.
Oh, man. That was one of the steals of the draft, man. I can't believe he didn't go in the first round.
That is going to lead me to my next question. We'll start with Louie Tee. Well, Louie, this is an easy one for you. So I'm going to kind of word this a little different for you because obviously you're happy with Chase Young. You're going to be very happy with Chase Young. Yeah. Say the Bengals surprised everyone and took Chase Young first. Who would you want with that second pick?
I wanted to trade out of that pick if Chase Young wasn't there. It was nothing there for me at 2 that would have enticed me to want to make a selection at that point. Joe Burrow would have been the selection because I'm holding everybody at gunpoint. Like I know what a gun and a mask look like and holding somebody at gunpoint. Kirk Cousins did it to us. Dak Prescott is currently doing it to the Cowboys. I would have did the same thing at number 2. And I would have said, look, Joe Burrow is for sale. Somebody wants him. Miami, Chargers, somebody. And we would have probably been able to get out of the pick more likely than not. But had we had to take a player, it would have been Isaiah Simmons. Would have been my guy.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be different for Brunson and LawNation. Were you happy with your first round pick? We'll ask Brunson this first. Were you happy with your first round pick? And even so, was there somebody else you would have preferred to Jalen Reagor?
No, I wasn't happy with the first round pick because obviously I study a lot about Carson Wentz, and I know Carson Wentz can throw the ball to anybody. We were so obsessed with this speedster thing. Well, Carson Wentz never had a speedster, and he's been pretty successful. I wanted Justin Jefferson, Justin, the guy that went to Minnesota. I wanted him big time because he's a red zone guy, and Carson Wentz is one of the best red zone quarterbacks in the NFL. I thought it was just a match made in heaven. But I was kind of torn between the picks because, me and Philly 500 did the draft boards, and I had Jalen Reagor on my draft board as well. So it was a guy I scouted. I was familiar with him. So I wasn't too bad. I wasn't too mad about it. We addressed the need. Obviously, we needed a wide receiver. We didn't go left field and take a safety first or nothing like that. So can't be too mad. But, yeah, I wouldn't have picked Jalen first, though. But I think he's still going to be good.
LawNation, CD.
Y'all went overkill on the receivers. Overkill on the speed, man. Overkill.
Were you happy with CeeDee Lamb? And even so, is there somebody else you would have preferred over him?
Oh my God. I didn't think that we was going to get CD, and I'm a defensive minded guy. I'm a team defense guy. And I think that defense win championships. And I think that Lower Brunson can contest to that. Defense can. And I think the way that they did it in 2017 was they went out and free agents. They went and got some multiple guys to be key components to that particular team. Nevertheless, the Dallas Cowboys, we got CeeDee Lamb, and trust me, I think that the kid is going to ball out. Everything that people love about DeAndre Hopkins, I think that he can bring that to the table. And I'm very intrigued with the Trayvon Diggs. I think that he was a guy that could have went in the first round. I had him above A.J. Terrell, and he went with the Atlanta Falcons, picked him up. So it was like, man, this is a blessing, for us to get a Sedarian Lamb and then all of a sudden get Diggs and then get my dog Reggie Robinson as well. So we got some people that can solidify this defense. Hopefully all of this stuff can gel together, but we need to see some action. We need to see something tangible. And I don't want to talk fake talk until I see this thing out there on the field.
Well, as you see, I'm a Sooner fan. I can tell you right now, CeeDee Lamb is going to be a star. CeeDee Lamb has the best catch radius in the draft. He's one of the best route runners in the draft. He has incredible hands. And I don't care that he runs a 4.5. It's about route running in the NFL. It's not about straight on speed. If it was, John Ross would be the best receiver in the league. John Ross is nobody. That's why I was surprised Henry Ruggs went first. Henry Ruggs is a nice receiver, but he's just a straight on runner. It's about route running. Yeah. It's just like pitching in baseball. If you don't have any accuracy, if you can't hit the corners with your changeup and you're just throwing fastballs, you're going to get knocked out of the park. They're going to time it. You can't round off routes. You can't, cut them short. You got to be a crisp route runner. CeeDee Lamb brings that. I love CeeDee Lamb. I was surprised you took him, but I think part of that was taking him away from the Eagles. I was
going to ask him, do we think that's what happened?
Well, hey, you got to pick CD. You can't pass upon him for anybody. And on top of that, I really think, Atlanta. I think that the Atlanta Falcons, when they stood still, I think the Eagles like, damn, come on now. Yeah. Because I really think that CeeDee Lamb on the Eagles would have really propelled them, because when you look at the Eagles, the way they utilize the two tight ends, people fail to realize that last game of the season, the Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys, yes, it was the Walmart All-Stars as it relates to the wide receivers on the out edge, that was running and catching routes or what have you. But the primary focus was First, the stupidity of the Dallas Cowboys defense for having Jordan Hip Pocket Lewis on the Dallas guard. I can blindfold myself and throw that ball into the end zone, and that was going to be a touchdown. Nevertheless, when you have tall guys, and I know Wentz, what was the other guy? Ertz, he went out in that game, but
I think
Ertz got out in that game, but Goddard, I mean, he destroyed our defensive backs from the interior. And when we finally got a chance to hold that offense back, we had a linebacker carrier number 84. Who's number 84 on your team?
Greg Ward.
Greg Ward. That's a mismatch, man. People in high school. I mean, a linebacker on a wide receiver. Come on. And then, the screen and the tunnel screen killed us with the little short passes to your dog, the running back. So it's not about the wide receivers on the edge. It's all about using the system. And there's a team called New England Patriots been doing that for many of years. They won many of Super Bowls without a primary or a dominant wide receiver. I digress.
All right. So let me get these real quick. Sajid Syed, thanks for the super chat, brother. Brilly, explain why Louie Tee says Jones is terrible when Haskins had fewer games. Don't give me the bad situation excuse. Hail to the Deadskins. JJ Trilla, thanks for the super chat. Brilly. This is why I love the NFC East. Just great trash, dog. He says, Wentz is so elite. They built a full statue for him, says JJ. For me, I like the Andrew Thomas pick. I'm not going to lie. Left tackle, something we desperately needed. Nate Solder gave up 59 pressures last year. Not good when you have a rookie quarterback. We desperately need that line. We took Barkley second. We took Jones sixth. You got to protect your assets. It's like buying a Ferrari and not getting the insurance. You need insurance for your car. We went out and did that. But me, anybody that watched my videos knows I was a huge Isaiah Simmons guy because I'm like you, LawNation. I'm like you, Lord Brunson. I don't know if Louie Tee feels the same way. I'm an advocate of defense wins championships. I'm a lot older than all you guys, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm going to be 44 this month. So I was around for the 80s Giants. I grew up on that defense. I grew up on the Lawrence Tillers, the Harry Carsons, the Carl Banks, the Gary Reasons, the Leonard Marshalls. I grew up in that era. I grew up when defense meant something. I know it's a passing league. I know all the rules are set up for the quarterback, but I still believe defense wins championships. So I was a big guy of Isaiah Simmons, but there's no doubt we needed a left tackle. So I was happy with that as well. Here's another good question. Like I said, I did my homework for you guys. I said I got really elite company tonight. I better come up with some good questions for you guys. LB, we're going to start with you. This is about your quarterback situation. I got questions for all you guys quarterbacks. So number one, I guess I'll ask you this. What did you think about the Jalen Hurts pick? I thought it was terrible. I'm not going to lie. I'm an Oklahoma Sooners fan. I don't think Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. I don't care where he went. I don't think he was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
But why do you think they took him there? You just gave Carson Wentz 4 years, $128 million. That begins this year. So it's not like he's at the end of his contract. What is your reasoning behind them? Do you have a reasoning behind why they took Jalen Hurts? And what did you think when they did take Jalen Hurts instead of like a Denzel Mims there?
So I think my number one reasoning behind it, honestly, is to stop Dallas from getting him. I think Dallas would have went and got him. I think we tried to play a little, tit for tat with Dallas right there. Okay. And also, I think that Doug Peterson and Howie, they're real smart guys. They see how the league is transitioning and how the Saints use their backup quarterbacks, and it gives the Eagles an opportunity, honestly, to take less hits off Carson Wentz. If you could throw that guy in there and let him run some options and some bootlegs on the third and short, it kind of takes the pressure off Carson Wentz and keeps his body a little fresher. Did I like the pick at all? No. It was probably the worst pick I ever seen in my life. It was probably the worst pick. I watched it. I was live streaming. It was the worst pick I ever saw. It was the worst pick I ever saw because you still have needs. There was so much still left on the board at that point.
I think you could have got him in the third round, to be completely honest with you.
I vehemently disagree.
I don't think it has anything to do with the health of Carson or anything like that. I just think it was just a reach. Like they're trying to look into the.
How can you sit there and say that? How can you sit there with a straight face? How can you sit there and say that it has nothing to do with Carson Wentz's injury history? Man doesn't finish seasons. How can you say you had 87-year-old Josh McCown on one leg trying to win you a playoff game? How can you sit there with a straight face?
I don't think it has anything to do with the
backup quarterback. You don't have a Super Bowl. You don't have a Lombardi. How can you sit there and say that this has nothing to do with the health of Carson Wentz? This is an insurance policy.
Louie.
This is an insurance policy.
Louie, I know it's been a very long time, Louie, since you even smelled the Lombardi, but you got to wrap your mind around this. Do you win the Super Bowl if you don't draft Carson Wentz? So Carson Wentz is just as important to that Lombardi as Nick Foles is.
We're not talking about that. That has nothing to do with what we talk about right now. We're talking about drafting Jalen Hurts. That's what we're talking about.
It was a bad pick.
So it's not a bad pick. It's an insurance policy that you're probably going to have to cash in as soon as 2020. Because your quarterback can't stay healthy.
You're not replacing him.
You're not replacing him.
Jalen Hurts. Not an insurance policy. I disagree. He ain't got the arm.
You're not replacing him. You're making sure that your season doesn't go to hell in the handbasket because you're relying on Nate Sudfeld, okay, or Josh McCown.
The season's in the hell in the handbasket. Either way you cut it. We ain't got Nick Foles no
more.
No,
it doesn't have to be. You thought that when Nick Foles took over.
Watch my videos.
What was it?
Go back in the archives. I said we was going to win.
Was it gone then?
Went down. I said it because I know who Nick Foles is.
You thought you knew. Huh? I thought I knew. I thought I knew too. I thought I did too.
Nick Foles won a Pro Bowl, threw for 7 touchdowns in an Eagles uniform before Carson Wentz was even thought of. I know Nicky franchise.
Oh, I know we all know the Chip Kelly 27/2. We all know what he did there. But I thought I knew him too. I was talking about the Nick Foles in St. Louis and the Nick Foles in Kansas City. I said, oh yeah, they about to be done. We were wrong. But that's why you have to have a guy there.
How do you feel about your draft? Because I got some thoughts on your draft.
On their draft. Okay, I was gonna say
we can get there. I just, it's crazy that Eagles fans were so upset about this pick. I just don't get it.
Well, to me,
you have to have a backup quarterback in this league to have a chance.
I think they drafted him too soon. I think that's the problem there.
Well, if you don't draft him there, somebody else is going to take him before you get to him in the 3rd round. That's the thing. Somebody else was going to take him.
Hurts is not that good. He's a running quarterback. He's not
you say that, but good. Lord Brunson said it already. The league is evolving. Teams are learning how to use these types of quarterbacks. But he's not. So he wasn't going to last. If you look at the 5 quarterbacks taken in the first 2 rounds, no other quarterback was taken until the 4th round. And we thought, Jacob Eason, and I was even saying Jake Fromm. I like Jake Fromm, okay, personally as a quarterback. I think he's a good game manager, perfect backup quarterback in this league. Guy that you bring in the game, and he's not going to kill you. He may not help you, but he's not going to kill you. All right, he can steady his ship for 2 games if you need to.
Jalen Hurts might not ever throw a pass in the Eagles uniform. He's going to be a wildcat quarterback. I'm telling you.
All right, you want to move on?
We'll
revisit this when you're wrong.
Okay, all right.
We'll revisit this when you're wrong.
LawNation, about Dak Prescott. It's obvious. Everybody knows about the contract situation. He was tagged. He wants $40+ million in a long-term deal. Now, I gave you the stats earlier. He threw 14 touchdowns. Almost has some touchdowns against the Giants and Redskins. He was 1-6 against winning teams this year. Obviously, he's had success there. He's won games. He's won, division championships. He's won 1 playoff game, it's 1 playoff game, right? He beat the Seahawks a couple years ago. Do you want Dak Prescott there? Do you want Dak Prescott to get a long-term deal? And if not, how would you want to replace him?
I think it's foolish and unwise for the Cowboys or for the Dallas Cowboys to actually franchise Dak Prescott, and he plays ultimately under that franchise tag. A case in point, historical data shows that what have the Redskins done since their guy, Kirk Cousins, when he got gone, you know what I mean? And on top of that, there's 2 types of situations. Either Jason Garrett was a great coach or Dak Prescott was a great player. You can't have both. Both of these guys since 2016 is 40-24. You can't name me. I challenge anybody in the chat box to name me 5 players since 2016 that got more wins than Dak Prescott at this moment.
Can't do it.
Can't. So that same breadth of statement goes for the coach. So either it's all on Dak Prescott or was it all on Chase and Garrett? And my thing is I would go and lean more towards Dak Prescott because 2015 we was top 3 in rushing and we was 4-12. We had the best offensive line in the NFL, one of the best offensive lines, and we were still 4-12, you say. So my thing is, what can Dak Prescott do with Mike McCarthy? It will be crazy because if you love the numbers that he put up with Jason Garrett last season, close your eyes and imagine what he's going to do with a Mike McCarthy, who
And
I can
CeeDee
say,
Lamb.
yeah, who worked with Joe Montana, worked with Brett Favre, worked with Aaron Brooks, worked with Rich Gannon, so he got some skins on the wall, and they cut from the same cloth as your boy, Lord Brunson, the guy that just won a Super Bowl over there for the Kansas City Chiefs. They all worked together. Same Andy Reid, and Andy Reid worked with what? Peterson. So I think that now we have football is going to be happening over here in Dallas, objectively speaking.
So you want to sign him, is what you're saying?
I want to sign him because if you signed him, you get more money. We got $11 million now. I think 7 of that $11 million is going to go towards the rookies. So there's not enough money to play with. If you signed him, you'll have more money to go out there. Maybe you get one more person that's on the defense. I'm leaning more towards Everson Griffin, or if we can snatch up him, maybe, just maybe, at Jadeveon Clowney, just maybe. The Jamal Adams situation, I think that's the land of la-las, that's really never going to happen because the Jets, I don't think that they're going to really work with Jerry Wayne Jones. So I just think that maybe a Jadeveon Clowney on an incentive-based deal or Everson Griffin would really put a staple piece on this defense to help us out.
Let me get these super chats, and then we'll get to Louie Tee real quick. Danny Thomas, super chat. Billy, Baddog, how do you think the Giants are going to use Love, McKinney, Peppers in obvious passing situations? I think the Giants are running a lot of 3-3-5, to be honest with you. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I got a Giants round table tomorrow. I'll talk about that tomorrow for sure. Yeah. Steve Jimenez, thanks for the super chat. Brother Billy says, hey, Baddog, he has $2. Thank you. Steve, thanks for the super chat. Billy says, you don't take a backup in a second when you have other needs. Well, that was kind of my point. But, hey, if they didn't think that Hurts was going to be there in the third round, you got to get your guy. We know that as Giants fans, 98% of us were pissed off when they took Daniel Jones. Nobody more mad than me. The video went viral. It's amazing how many guys all of a sudden were Daniel Jones fans after he turned out to be pretty okay. You know what I mean? Every Giants fan's like, I knew he was going to be good. I watched Duke football. Yeah, nobody watches Duke football. But somehow all these guys watch Duke football. Louie Tee. Dwayne Haskins, obviously, he struggled most of the season. He did have a good last month of the season. He's your future quarterback. You picked him 15th overall. What do the Redskins have to do? What does Dwayne Haskins have to do to improve what he did last year and play the way he did down the stretch? What can they do to make him a very good Pro Bowl type of quarterback?
Well, it starts with him. It's not everybody else. It starts with him having to put in the work, show the leadership. These were the things that Ron Rivera came in and said right off the bat. You got to come in. You got to show the leadership piece. You got to show these guys that you want it. And he's done that to the best of his abilities with this limited offseason. We've seen the videos on IG of him getting into some of the best shape of his life. He's a guy that listened to our offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, talk about Dwayne Haskins grasping the playbook and how he's a really sharp guy. And he gives him some verbiage and he gives him a look and he's able to spit it out. So he's doing all of the things that they needed to see from him, again, in this limited offseason. All of this sounds good, but until you actually get on the field, you're not going to really be able to know what you have. But I think he's done everything that he needed to do in the interim to prepare himself to take the next step. But we saw flashes at the end of the season, lit the Eagles up at the end of the season. The first 2 quarters versus the Giants were his best football of the season. So you're talking about 6 quarters, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 70% completion percentage, over 400 yards passing. He was in his zone and he was playing outstanding football and he was starting to get it. And the thing that you have to know with these young quarterbacks is confidence. All of these guys can play for the most part. Is when does that light bulb go off? When do they figure out I can play in this league? I belong. I think he figured that out towards the end of the season once they finally handed over the keys to him and the play caller actually took the shackles off of him and allowed him to go play ball. So I think he's going to be even more elusive in the pocket with that weight that he shedded. And I think he's going to be a guy that can do some dynamic things off schedule, which is what makes Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott so dangerous, is their ability to extend plays, especially once you get into the red zone when things become confined and restricted. You need quarterbacks to extend the play, make things happen. And I think Dwayne will be a little bit better at that in 2020 and possibly moving forward. So I think he's taken all of the necessary steps in terms of his preparation. Now need to see it on the field. But as a wise man once told me, the separation is in the preparation. And so we'll see if he is able to take that next step or not.
I agree. I've been watching Dwayne Haskins, and if nothing else impressed me, it definitely was his work. You like to see your young quarterback getting out there and working. That's what Daniel Jones has done. He added 8 pounds of muscle. He's out there throwing with his receivers. He's working really hard to be better. But Daniel Jones, obviously, it's ball control. He's got to hang on to the football. There's no doubt about that. I think same thing with Dwayne Haskins. Younger quarterbacks have a tendency to try to make every play. And with experience, you're going to realize not every play is there to be had. So you have to take the sack. You got to throw the ball away, but you got to have that clock in your head that says, I'm about to get clocked. I got to either clock the ball, throw it away, or just go down. Eli Manning, everyone used to get on Eli Manning for, he's a wuss. He's sliding on the ground. He's going down the ground. I'm like, you ever let a 350-pound guy come running to you full speed and stand there and take it and tell me you ain't going to go down on the ground? I'm getting down every time. Daniel Jones, the most accurate quarterback in the league in passes over 20 yards in the air. Daniel Jones, top 5 in the league in accuracy and tight window throws and against the blitz. So I'm excited for his accuracy, but there's no doubt his ball control and fumbling he's got to be a lot better than that. I think adding the strength will definitely help that. And listen, there's 4 really there's 2 good quarterbacks. Wentz is a great quarterback, in my opinion. Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. And I think that Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins are going to be around, having a really good battle. There's 4 young running backs in this league, or in this division, rather, and there's 4 young quarterbacks. So it should be a lot of fun for years to come. There's no doubt about that.
If Dwayne Haskins don't show up this year, he'll be out of the league in 2 years.
It could happen.
It could happen. Yeah.
We got over 600 people in here again, guys and girls. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. Smash that thumbs up if you haven't. It helps out the stream. But more importantly, go into the description. All the channels, these 3 men, their channels are in there. Links there. Click on them. Subscribe to them. Ring that notification bell so you get all the notifications. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do that too. Why the hell not? Louie Tee, you and I are going to sit back for this one because maybe I misheard this the other day, but we're going to ask LB and LawNation about this one. I think this was yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong, LB, because I could be wrong. Maybe I misheard you. You said Tannehill was better than Dak Prescott. Do you stand by that?
Yes, I do. I do. How could you not? How could you not after what you saw? After what you saw, how could you? I think he's better than Dak, man. I think that I think he caught the Nick Foles effect. It take a long time for some of these dudes to catch on. It take a long time. Like I think he over 30 now. I think he found what works for him, and he got a running back. He could milk. I think he could milk that division with some good play action. He really used that rookie wide receiver that they got. I think that he showed me more than I've seen out of Dak Prescott, especially in the playoffs.
Man, he rode those coattails of Henry. He was running over everybody. I think more teams feared that running approach, and on top of that, that defense was nothing to sneeze at. I think that Tannehill is a guy that's benefiting from some privileges over there, and then he had some good coaching. I don't sneeze on that coaching staff that was able to put them in right positions. And also he learned from Bill Belichick. So I think that when Ryan Tannehill, when all of the smoke clears, they better figure out a way to pay good old Henry, because you would not see. Huh?
I thought it was more of Henry. I saw Tannehill throwing some bombs in the playoffs. I saw Tannehill knock off Tom Brady. They had a historical pass defense. Who'd he knock off after that? I think it was the MVP Lamar, right? Yep. That's another good defense. I seen Tannehill throwing bombs. They wasn't just feeding Henry. Everybody was low in the box trying to stop Henry. I saw Tannehill throwing deep touchdown passes. Tannehill looked like a different guy.
Well, hey, only Tannehill can get paid for 8 games like that. We will see over a collective full body of work what he can bring to the table.
I wouldn't have paid him that much.
Yeah, he got paid a lot. LA got paid. For the super brother, Brilly says Haskins has to master the offense, play within himself, and use his teammates to their strengths. Don't try to do it himself. Don't overplay. That's pretty much every quarterback should not overplay. All right, this is an interesting question. We'll start with you, Louie Tee.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your favorite player on each of the teams in this division outside your own team of all time. So give me your favorite Giant of all time, your favorite Eagle of all time, and your favorite Cowboy of all time.
Favorite Giant of all time is LT. I grew up watching LT. To me, after Jim Brown, and I've watched highlights of Jim Brown, never actually watched him play. But after Jim Brown, to me, Lawrence Taylor is the best football player I've ever seen in my life. And if you're just talking my lifetime, he's the best football player I've ever seen in my life.
You're that old to remember LT playing?
My dad, I grew up like literally the first memories I have are of football. Like 3-4 years old. You usually don't remember a lot of things. I remember football. My dad had me in there watching. And he recorded everything. So we had VHS tapes, and I'm watching all of this stuff. And I just remember this guy just being an animal on the field, man. And the thing I remember the most as a Redskins fan is we devised a scheme to try to stop Lawrence Taylor. Like everything that we did when we played against the Giants was Taylor. And you can say that about most teams when they played the Giants, but we literally devised a scheme to stop Lawrence Taylor, and it was still unsuccessful. So he could rush the passer. He could drop into coverage. I mean, you didn't know where he was going to be on every snap. So for me, it's Lawrence Taylor with the Giants. For the Cowboys, I was always a Michael Irvin guy. Secretly, as a Redskins fan growing up, I was always a Michael Irvin guy. I just loved his swag growing up, man. I used to love the little when he used to give it to him.
Yeah.
I was a huge Michael Irvin guy. Always have been.
He would be sad that your dad couldn't persuade you, man, to the right.
Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with him, but he had swag though, man. That's one thing he had. Yeah. For the Eagles, man, that's a tough one because I didn't really. They never really had anybody that really jumped off the screen to me. I can tell you, growing up, obviously Randall Cunningham was a big dude for me. I used to love Vasika Hema too. When he used to run back the kicks or the punts, and then he would punch the goalpost.
I remember.
But honestly, for me, it was probably Randall Cunningham, man. They had some really vicious defenses with Buddy Ryan though, with Seth Joyner and Jerome Brown and Reggie White and all of those guys. Clyde Simmons, Eric Allen. They had some good players, man. But I think Randall Cunningham was my guy if I had to go with one Eagle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Real quick, 79 Steve Brilly. Who do you have winning the AFC East? Bills. Mark Edelman, thanks for the super chat. Brilly said, "What up, dogs? Stand your ground with these guys. I can't lie, but Lord Brunson knows his football. You can just tell. High five, Lord Brunson."
Appreciate you, man.
Go. LawNation. Give me your favorite players of all time on the rival teams in this division.
Get some Dawkins love.
For the Giants there, of course, you got to use LT. Of course, I love his skill set, what he brought to the table, on the way they utilize him and how he reshaped the game. But the reason why I fell in love with football was because of my Dallas Cowboys guy, Everson Walls. And when he went to the Giants, it just it took it away from me, and he ultimately won a Super Bowl with you guys. So so he was the reason why I love number 24. He's the reason why I wore number 24. He's the reason why I played defensive back. He's the reason why I actually love the Cowboys, believe it or not, catching 11 interceptions in one season. I don't think nobody in the Dallas Cowboys uniform would ever top that record. So I would lean on, since, he went to the Giants, I would lean on him being my favorite Giant player of all time. Now, for the Redskins, I would say Darryl Green. I love his ability to just the longevity part of it, right? I mean, the guy, he's so fast, right? You remember him, Louie Tee,
Of course. I think you'll never see that again. The man played 2 decades and had an interception in every year of his career. Like you'll never see that again.
Yeah, and was one of the fastest guys out there ever, in that particular conference. And as you guys know that I'm gonna lean on defense. I always love defense. I don't like defense. I love it. And for the Eagles, of course, everybody grew up loving Cunningham, but on the defensive side of the ball, for me, of course, Reggie White, he was always a nuance out there. The other guy that I really liked his skills, I liked his mindset, is Bobby Taylor. You remember him, LB? Yeah, cornerback with that type of mindset.
And he went to Notre Dame too. That was my guy.
Yeah, it was your guy. So Eric Allen, of course, Troy Vince, and all of those boys. I love their skill set. I studied their tape and studied the game. And then when they got the Wolverine, what was his guy name? I forgot. What's his name again?
Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, Dawkins. Yeah. He stood out to me as a guy that was really, really aggressive in his approach. But I just really pissed off because he's in the Hall of Fame and Darren Woodson is not, So we need to figure out how to get Woody, our safety, in the Hall of Fame. But nevertheless, man, I don't like football at all. I love football, and those are guys that I looked at and looked toward to seeing on Sundays were those guys.
Nice. LB, give me your favorite players on each of the division rivals.
I definitely am a Darryl Green guy. I don't think I ever seen him play in person, but I heard the stories and I went back and watching film on him when I was younger. The dude was chasing people down. The camera wasn't even in film. The camera wasn't even on him. He just popped in the screen and he chasing somebody down from 40 yards away. That was always impressive to me. So I'm going to have to go with Darryl Green for the Redskins. For the Dallas Cowboys, definitely was Deion Sanders for me, man. Deion just was flashy, like the chains, the jerry curls, and still backing it up on the field. Deion was that dude, punt returner, interceptions. He just was a natural football player to me. Just a guy who would just play any position. I like Deion a lot. And for the Giants, let me go to the Giants. This might surprise a lot of people, man. I'm going to go with Eli, man. I'm going to go with Eli right there because Eli was just – nobody ain't think nothing of him, man, until he got into those playoffs and warmed people up. I'm talking about 8-8. They still ain't believe in him. Get to the Super Bowl to knock off that Patriots team that didn't take a loss. That was just crazy, man.
He all did us a favor, believe it or not, twice.
Exactly. And that right there, and this at the time when we didn't have a Super Bowl. And I just thought that was super impressive that happened in my division. We didn't have a Super Bowl, and you just couldn't knock that. Yeah. Eli went out there with minimal weapons and performed like that. I think for sure Hall of Famer. And for the Eagles, man, it's so hard for me for the Eagles, man, because you could go I got so many favorite players. I was a Irvin Fryer guy. I was a Jeremiah Trotter guy, Corey Simon. Man, it's hard, but I got this is I gotta go with Nick Foles, man. I gotta go with Nick Foles, bro. I gotta go with Nick Foles. I watched Nick Foles win a Pro Bowl. I watched Nick Foles have a completion record, tie that record. I think it was Phillip Rivers' record. I watched Nick Foles tie the 7 touchdown passes in a game record. And I watched Nick Foles win the Super Bowl MVP.
Do you know
wearing my jersey?
Do you know the quarterback he tied for that? Do you know who the quarterback was that threw 7 touchdowns?
I can't remember who it was. Was it Peyton?
It was freaking Joe Cap, the Vikings.
Really?
Joe Cap was terrible. He was a Viking late 60s, early 70s, brought him to the Super Bowl and Super Bowl IV. But 1 year, Joe Cap threw 3 touchdowns and 18 interceptions, but he had a 7 touchdown game. Go figure that out.
Yeah, it was crazy. I watched Nick Foles tie records that probably won't be touched. I watched him win the Super Bowl. I watched him do everything from a quarterback. If you look at Nick Foles' resume, it ain't got the numbers, but if he had the numbers, it's like a Hall of Fame resume. He checks a lot of blocks: Pro Bowl, Super Bowl MVP, NFC champion. He checked a lot of blocks that a lot of people ain't gonna be able to check. So I gotta go with Nick Foles, man. And it's it's funny. All them dudes, man, they did a lot for the game, but at the end of the day, Nick Foles got the statue. He raised the Lombardi. I just seen him do too many great things.
Hey, may I interject one time? I'll be remiss, man. And I left him out. I apologize. He wore 21 for the Redskins there. Sean Taylor, man. Yeah. I got to put him on that list, man. He was a dog, man. Go ahead.
It's funny. You guys mentioned a couple of these guys. For the Eagles, Eric Allen. I loved Eric Allen, man. I played cornerback in high school, so I was always a big fan of the cornerback, the safeties. Secondary has always been my favorite position. Eric Allen, I was a big fan of Eric Allen. I mean, I always said it. I would never, ever in my life wear an Eagles jersey, but if I was ever going to buy one, that 80s Eagles jersey, that green color, that spread wing eagle, which I loved. I loved that. I hate their design now, but I'm not a big uniform guy, but I loved that Eric Allen design. I mean, he was my guy. I loved Eric Allen. For the Redskins, it's got to be a tie. Darryl Green. If you love football, I don't know how you didn't love Darryl Green. The guy was a consummate professional, one of the greatest to ever do it. If you're a fan of a secondary, you're a fan of defense, you're going to love Darryl Green. The other one for me was John Riggins, because Riggo just run everybody the hell over. I mean, he was just a Mack truck. He was a free spirit. He was, a little crazy. He was a tough son of a bitch, though. I love those guys that spit blood and swallow nails. And Riggins, was that guy for sure. And I always loved Riggins. And I was believe it or not, I said this before, I could never root for the Eagles in a Super Bowl. I could never root for the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Both of them Redskins Super Bowls that I saw them in, I rooted for the Redskins because I was a big fan of Joe Gibbs. Huge fan of Joe Gibbs. Huge fan of Joe Bugle. Rest in peace, Joe Bugle. And those just the way the Redskins went about their business, even though they were a big rivalry of the Giants when I was growing up, I loved those teams. For the Cowboys, it's got to be Tony Dorsett. It's another guy that just I loved watching him run. He was just a really great player. I was a little, not that I was upset, but I thought they did him wrong or whatever when they brought in Herschel Walker. But I loved Dorsett. Dorsett was a really good running back, and just that guy that worked really hard, and he was an awesome guy. Those are the guys I'd have to say on my rival teams. So I'm going to ask you guys one more question, and then we're going to take a couple questions from the chat, and then we'll wrap it up. So I asked you guys your favorite players on your rival teams. Tell me the player on your own team that you hated the most. LB, we'll start with you with this one.
Of all time?
Of all time, the Eagle you hated the most.
Damn, that's tough.
Yeah. I told you, I did my homework tonight. I want to ask.
That's a tough one. Shit. The only thing that comes to my mind is a dude who was on the roster last year, and I don't feel like it's going back far enough.
Nelson
Aguilar. It's Ronald Darby for me, man.
I'm about to say it was Ronald Darby. It had to be Darby. He was getting smoked all the time.
It got to be Darby for me, man. I never screamed that much at a TV, man. But damn, I'm trying to give one a little further back. I gotta go with Darby, man, because I didn't hate McNabb despite him coming up short so many times. I gotta go with Darby, man.
All right, Louie Tee, your most hated Redskin of all time.
It's a tie for me. It's Albert Haynesworth and Jeff George.
Oh, it makes sense.
Who was your second one after Haynesworth?
Jeff George.
Oh yeah.
Good.
LawNation, go ahead. Your most hated.
Oh my God.
Of all time.
Oh my goodness. And a lot of people, it's a love-hate type of groove because it was P.I., my dog, Michael Irvin, in 1994. This guy named Deion Primetime Sanders for the 49ers. I can't stand the 49ers. I can't stand them. That's one team that I can't wait to see at the end of the season. So I can't wait to put our knees and our foot so far down their throats. Hey, I can't stand them. I definitely can't stand them. It still give me chills. Then all of a sudden, the next year, Deion come walks his butt right on the Cowboys and we win the Super Bowl. And it's the epitome of me being, I can't stand it. I could not stand Deion. I couldn't stand him. Moving a little bit forward, it was T.O. Terrell Owens, when he put on that filthy green and scored a touchdown and called himself running into the middle of the star to celebrate on the star, which is
I love
sacred.
that myself. I like
Oh my goodness. And we had to go and get George Teague on our show.
George
to talk about it. Yes, man, he smashed T.O. And then for him to ultimately to come to the Dallas Cowboys, for us to be the laughing stock of the NFL, for everybody to say, hey, we got T.O., we're going straight to the Super Bowl because we got T.O. And watching him just dismantle Tony Romo and that whole era, man, I'm telling you guys, I've been living, look, I tell a lot of people, we had Jason Garrett for 13 years collectively. But within the confines of those years, we were stuck in purgatory, neither heaven nor hell. We just didn't know where we was going because every time everybody said, hey, we going to the Super Bowl. And we going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, where? How? But those two guys, man, Deion Sanders and Terrell Owens, they make you love them and they make you cry. You know, that's just how it goes. For those are those two guys that I despise.
All right, I like that. I like the way you put that together right there. Little Ryan. Did you mean to do it that way, or just
no? It just came with the flow. I think the beard talking for me, you know.
Let me get these super chats. I'll tell you, the Giants I hate it most, and the Giants fans in the chat are going to know us. Mark Edelman, thank you for the super chat. Brilly says Dexter Manley, Clyde Simmons, and DeMarcus Lawrence are giant killers. You know who else is a giant killer? You didn't mention Ryan Kerrigan destroys the Giants. Always destroyed the Giants.
Yeah.
Juan Gotti talking sports. Brilly. Soto taking Cole deep on opening day. I love my Nats. He may take Cole deep. The Yankees going to win that game. I mean, we all know that. Yankees winning number 28 this year. At least I like one good New York team. Asia Roberson, my lady, thank you so much for the $50 shoot. I really appreciate it. You're unbelievable, Asia. Brilly. What up, Bad Dog? You loon. If you got Brunson on here, you going places because he's the GOAT for an Eagles fan. I know Bad Dog are ready for the other sports, but the others three are ready for baseball, basketball, or hockey. Go Yankees and Giants. And my boy, I love him. Philly 500. Spelled his name wrong when he was on my stream a couple weeks ago. Brilly. Great job, guys. Got you on in the car. Keep up the great work. Hashtag, or as he would say, pound fake moon landing, pound band on NASA, and pound Nelson Aguilar stinks because we're older, and that was actually a pound sign on a touchtone phone instead of the hashtag has become now. So great stuff, guys. We'll go like 20 minutes. We'll take some questions from the chat. So if you have questions, I'm just gonna pick them out. I don't have StreamYard up. I'm looking at my YouTube studio, so I can't highlight any of the what am I trying to say, questions. So ask your okay. Zuhib Ahmed, this is a good one. We'll start with you, Law Nation. Best to worst coaches in the division.
Best to worst coaches. All right, so Dougie P, he's one of the best coaches in this division, and by them coming out, he's going to call the plays this year, right? LB. Yeah, so that's something that we have to worry about. I think Mike McCarthy, he's a Super Bowl champion coach, so he's the second. And third will be the Redskins coach, because I think that he's going to bring in a cultural change. And your coach, the Giants coach, he's still wet behind the ear, so he got to watch out. He's going to have a guy that's pretty much going to try to steer the ship. So
I heard.
Yeah. So you guys are in dead last. So that's my coaching lineup, and it's subject to change once the season starts. Once we get continuity going, I think it will be at the end of the year, Mike McCarthy. But for right now, for continuity purposes and to be objectively speaking, it's Dougie P.
Louie T's got a fan in the chat. My girl Justina says the bottom right is cute. I see that. Louie T, give me your best coaches, best to worst.
Doug Peterson's number one. I remember I tried to run him out of town after his first year. He was going for it on fourth down. On every fourth down, it seemed like I thought they were losing games because he was over aggressive, and his theory proved to be right. Now you see most of the league kind of converting over to rolling the dice on fourth downs, and he was one of those guys that was kind of ahead of the curve on that. And he's won a Super Bowl because of his aggressiveness. We, see Philly special for that. So Doug Peterson's one. I think that the Redskins coach, Ron Rivera, is actually number 2. I think Mike McCarthy is a clown. And so we'll see what he does in Dallas, to be honest with you. I think he was really just riding the coattails of Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to find out how good of a coach he is. If he's as good as, people think he might be, then we'll see if he's able to prove that in Dallas. But he's number 3. Really, I like Joe Judge, man. This guy's impressed the hell out of me, in the limited exposure I've had. And the fact that he coached at Alabama under Nick Saban, coached under Bill Belichick, this guy has seen what winning looks like up close and personal. When I listen to him talk, hell, I get excited. Yep. And I'm a Redskins fan. So I actually like Joe Judge a lot. I think there's a lot of potential there. Listening to him talk about how they're going to, not worry about what guys can't do, but find what guys do best and put them in positions to do that. That's the essence of what Bill Belichick does and preaches. So we'll see what he's able to do. It wouldn't shock me if he climbed up this list rather quickly, but obviously because he has no experience, right, you got to put him last.
LB, give me the coach's best or worst.
I'm gonna go with Doug. Doug is probably a top 3 coach in the game, so Doug is an easy choice for me. I'm gonna go with 2. I got to go with Mike McCarthy, just because of what he's done already. You know what I mean? I think Mike McCarthy is going to hurt Zeke's style of play. And I know Mike McCarthy don't got Aaron Rodgers right now. He can't treat Dak like Aaron Rodgers, so we just got to see how that pans out. But as of right now, he's still the second best. I like Ron Rivera at 3, and I'm going to go with the Giants coach last because he could probably talk good. He could probably win on a collegiate level, but that got to translate over. So we'll see.
All right.
Great minds think alike, man.
Bonus question for LB, and I'll get to the things. Asia, thank you for the super chat. Brilly says, this is for LB. Are you ready for your Sixers this year?
I am ready. Nobody got COVID on the 76ers roster. Ben Simmons said he's going to play. I'm ready to see, man. I'll take this championship. I don't care if there's an asterisk next to it. I don't care if it's in the COVID area. I like all rings.
Hell yeah. Right. For me,
my Lakers gonna win it, man. And I'm not jumping from team to team. I'm from Mississippi, so for anybody to say, "Hey, he just loves the team that win,"
well, listen, I do Lakers streams, and I'm a Knicks fan. The Knicks are so bad they didn't even get invited to Orlando. So everybody that knows me in the chat, Justina is one of them. I'm Laker dog for a reason. I do every Laker game, so obviously I'm pulling from the chip. For me, Doug Peterson's got to be the best coach. He won a Super Bowl with an Eagles team. And, at first, I think, Louie Tee, you said this. I didn't like Peterson. I thought the Eagles won in spite of him. But looking at what he did with that team last year, I think that was the most impressive coaching job he did because of all the injuries that they had.
I agree.
And they did a phenomenal job last year. Like that year impressed me. I said, you know what? Peterson is a really good head coach. So I underestimated Peterson. I'm going to go with Ron Rivera next. I like Ron Rivera's philosophy. Again, I'm a defensive guy. Ron Rivera is a defensive guy. I love that. I love that tough attitude. I think Ron Rivera is kind of what the Redskins need. I think they need a guy to just come in there and punch him in the mouth a little bit and get them straightened away. So I feel like the Redskins I've always felt like the Redskins have good talent, but they're not focused. Like they don't have a really good leader. I think Rivera brings that leadership there that team has desperately needed. Your owner doesn't help matters. I think you got a bad owner. But I like the coach.
You don't think we do.
And as a Knicks fan with James Dolan, I get it. I would go McCarthy 3rd. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like they underachieved with Green Bay. I feel like they should have won more than one Super Bowl. He had the best quarterback on the planet for years. And I don't know what he's going to do with Dallas. Dallas is a very good team. On paper, I think that they're the most talented team in this division. I've thought that for some time. Again, this is a new situation for him. He does not have Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers called a lot of his own plays and he improvised a lot of plays. I don't know if, like Brunson said, you're not going to be able to treat Dak the same way as you did in Aaron Rodgers. And as a Giants fan, I love Joe Judge's philosophy. Like you said, Louie Tee, I'm impressed that he coached under Belichick and Saban. They're the two winningest coaches at the NFL level and at the collegiate level. He's got a great football mind. I love his philosophy. I'm ready to run through a wall for him. Yeah. But talk only goes so far.
Absolutely.
Like I said, this has to translate on the field. He has no experience, so we really don't know what he's going to be as a head coach. So as much as I like to hire and the Giants went outside the box, I don't think there's any Giants fan that could sit here in my chat, and I love my Giants fans. There's no way a Giants fan could say Joe Judge is better than any of these coaches because we don't know what Joe Judge is. We do know the other three. They all have a track record. 2 won a Super Bowl, 1 made a Super Bowl. So we're hoping Joe Judge does bring us there, but I don't think any Giants fan could possibly say that Joe Judge is not last at the moment. So we'll go with that. Meet Tarian, thanks for the super chat. Brilly, he says, who has the best home field advantage in the NFC East? LawNation, we'll start with you this time. Who's got the best home field advantage?
I think Dallas at home, even though the stadium is not allowed one, I think that's where Dak Prescott plays his best, is in Texas Stadium. I think that we have one of the better home field advantages as of lately. And I think that would still carry over even with Mike McCarthy. So I just think that we have the best. In the Redskins Stadium, man, y'all need to fix that grass area, Landover, Maryland. Y'all need to fix that grass over there in Philly. I think that they get the better edge as the season progresses. As it get cold, I agree. To me personally, this is just me. I think that the Dallas Cowboys plays better when it's warmer or when the climate is right. And that's with the old regime, of course, with Jason Garrett. But I just think that the nature of how we play better in a dome per se. And the Eagles towards the latter part of the year, they play better in cold climates.
Louie Tee, who do you think has the best home field advantage in our division?
None of these teams do. All of us, honestly speaking, none of us have a really a game-changing advantage at home. I don't feel like any of these teams have that. Like, there are certain places in the league where you say, man, like Seattle at one point, man, I don't want to go to Seattle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Kansas City.
Kansas City is another one of those places. I don't want to go to Kansas City, man. That's just a tough place. I don't feel that first of all, we don't even have a home field. The Eagles come take over our stadium. The Cowboys come take over our stadium. Giants fans get on the train, come take over our stadium. You know what? We don't even have a home field event.
You know why this happens? This is why this happens, Louie, and this is going to stop. Because by the end of the year, the Cowboys and Eagles are playing us, and they're playing for a division title. While we're sitting there at 3-12, and none of our fans want to go watch that. So we sell our tickets to those guys, and they come over and they take over the stadium.
Yeah. We've got, but see, the problem is we got that problem in week 4. What's the excuse then? So, I mean, honestly speaking, though, I don't see any of these home field advantages being all of that great, to be honest with you.
Brunson, who do you think's got the best?
I think I got to give it to Dallas slightly because Dallas stars show up at home. You know what I mean? I think Zeke and Dak and Amari Cooper play really good at home, especially Amari Cooper. And when Amari Cooper's playing good, Dallas is like 90% going to win the game. So I'll just give it to Dallas on the fact that I feel like Dak can connect better with Amari Cooper at home for some reason. I think, so I'll give it to Dallas. Number 2, I'm going to have to go with the Eagles because at the end of the day, nobody's going to take over that stadium.
True.
So you can always at least keep your fans being there, whether you shit the bed or not.
Yeah.
Number 3, I've never been to MetLife, so I don't know.
We have to come sometime. We have to meet up.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to go with the Giants, even though I ain't never even been there because I've been to the Redskins Stadium multiple times. I'm telling you,
bet you and 20,000 other Eagles fans probably came in and took over the joint.
Free.
Hey, they was probably over there. EAGLES Eagles.
They were doing the
How dare you utter those words?
Oh my God, it's the best. I can't wait till that stops. Dang it, I can't wait for that.
Let me get these super chats real quick, and then I'll give you my take on that. Saji Syed, Brilly, thank you for the super chat. He says, PFF, Philly 500 fans. And Asia Roberson, my lady, thank you for the super chat. Billy, she says, this is not a knock on LB. Can we please beat the dang Eagles this year? That's why I'm giving the Eagles a home field advantage. We haven't beat the Eagles there, and I don't know how long, and Matt Barkley was the quarterback the last time we beat them. We think I beat them once there since 2012 with Matt Barkley as a quarterback, and we won a game like 15-7. It was disgusting. We can't win in Philly. We could never win in Philly, even when we were good and I was a kid. We could 10-0, 1990, go into Philadelphia, they whoop our ass. We have never been able to beat them in Philadelphia. which is why I hate the damn Eagles so much, because they just find ways to beat us.
We love y'all in the Redskins. We really love y'all. We appreciate y'all.
One of my best moments, I've never been to another stadium outside of my own except for the old RFK. 1986, week 14, we're both 11-2. My grandfather, myself, my dad, we all go down to RFK. We sit way up in the upper deck. Just
that was a home field advantage.
Yeah,
that was a home field advantage.
A rickety old piece of crap like the old Meadowlands, and I loved RFK. I loved it. But LT had 3 sacks in the first half. Schrader threw 6 picks. Giants won 24-14 and pretty much clinched the division. That was one of the greatest games I've ever been to. But I like those old crappy stadiums. There's a lot of character there. You know what I mean?
Tell you what, the Vet was that was another one of those raggedy old stadiums. Yeah. Boy, you weren't gonna go in there with no bullshit.
The Vet was a battlefield.
Man, that was literally green and white cement.
It was a battlefield
that they were playing on. Ask Michael Irvin.
Yeah. Oh, that was. I mean, there's some. One thing I'll say, I know Giants and Eagles fans clash a lot, and the reason being, I always felt like Giants and Eagles fans are very similar. We're stubborn, we're obnoxious, we're loud, and we're passionate. I think that's just New York and Philadelphia in general.
I'm about to say, y'all are reflections of your cities. That's
we really are.
What it
is. Yeah, I think that's what we have so much in common, and you know, it's crazy. That's why when I first got, like I first started interacting with LB and I got into it a little bit because we're so similar. Like if there's one guy on YouTube as a content creator that is most like me, it's Lord Brunson. So that's why it's a lot of fun to work with LB because, I mean, it's like a
but Bad Dog, you gotta admit that the Eagles fans are more resilient. They could be 1-6 if they could just beat the Cowboys, you know.
Of course, well, they're gonna be us no matter what they are.
Nobody thought we was gonna make the playoffs the last 2 years or win the Super Bowl. I got called every name in the book. You should just quit. Stop talking about y'all gonna win. Then we end up pulling it out. It ain't over for me. It got to be over for me to say it's over. If it's a mathematical chance, I feel like Doug Peterson could coach his way to that mathematical chance. He's did it 3 times in a row now.
As a Giants fan, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
It's never over with the Eagles, ever. It started in 78 with the Miracle in the Meadowlands. Then we had Miracle in the Meadowlands 2. Then we have Jake Elliott hitting a 61-yarder. You know, then we're up 19-3, and we stop running the ball, and we lose that.
Right.
Game. It never fails. They beat us. We have Sikahima returning kicks. We have Brian Westbrook returning a punt. We're up 4. We haven't scored all night. The Eagles haven't scored all night. We're up 10-7. They kick it to him, and he returns it with 2 minutes to go.
Right. Was it just recently, Bad Dog? Just recently, they had a kicker named Elliott to nail a 60-something yard kick against y'all.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
You mentioned it. So that's there you go.
We need that same luck against Dallas. We need that luck against Dallas. We need to be able to just pull them out against Dallas.
It's crazy. It's insane how the team has always given us a hard time. Juice Alert, thanks for the super chat. Brilly. Aaron Rodgers giving the Eagles smoke this year. Cowboys are overrated and won't make the playoffs. And Haskins is a future top 10 quarterback. I love Juice Alert. Shout out to Juice. He does love Dwayne Haskins. He hasn't wavered off that one bit. I'll ask Juice Alert this. You know, there's a lot of comparisons of Daniel Jones to Aaron Rodgers. That's my boy Fisk Vegas. He likes to compare. And I like that.
Oh, Bad Dog, stop.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I'm not comparing I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. My boy Fisk does, and I like what Fisk says. I'm like, I wish. You know, it'd be awesome. That'd be great. But we'll take a couple more questions, and then I'm going to let these guys go. But again, I want to thank you guys for coming on. This was a lot of fun, man. You guys are fantastic what you do. Like I said, it's an honor to work with you 3 guys. This is a long time coming, and I hope during the season at some point we can do this again, like maybe halfway through the season. We'll know where our teams are at, and then maybe we can trash talk a little bit more. You know, Louie Tee, maybe you and I, maybe we'll have something to say. Because we'll be better.
I always got something to say.
Well, I can tell.
That's not going to stop me one bit.
I like it.
So Louie, me and Louie going to have to get together after week 1.
I mean, look.
See,
week 1.
That is one thing that I would like to do with each of you guys. Like when we play like the Cowboys.
I wouldn't mind that at all because I actually think we can win that game.
And Lord Brunson obviously can play the Eagles. I would love to work with you guys individually when we play. I don't care whose channel it's on. I think this is a great football conversation. So I wanted you guys here. You guys all know your stuff. And like I said, I love passionate football fans. I don't like
right.
but I like the fans. You know what I mean? So this was an absolute honor for me. So I greatly appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to do this. It means the world to me. So thank you. Asia Brilly. By the way, I'm glad the Nats beat the dang cheating Astros. I give you credit for that. I'm happy about that too. So again, guys, if you got any questions, shout them out real quick. If not, we're going to wrap this up.
Hey, I will say, we can say this now. The Dallas Cowboys, we are still the king of the East, right? You know, regardless of the situation.
I don't think
5 is greater.
I think we gotta. That's past tense. I think it's were.
Wait a minute. 5 is still greater than 3. You got 3.
When was the last of those 5 again?
Hey, 95, 96 season, but I'm still trying to
figure that's out. What I thought.
I'm still trying to figure out because my dog Louie Brunson got all of his minions to be jumping over here on LawNation channel with all of the facts and stuff like that. And I love him. You know, he's talking about irrelevancy and these sorts of things. But I will say this: 5. Say it with me. 5 is greater than 3. 5 is greater than 1. 5 is greater than 4. Let me know if I'm lying, right?
You're not lying.
Okay, yeah. That's all I'm trying to say.
I will say this. I will say this. I'm going to be 44 this month. Last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, I wasn't even able to drink yet.
Look, man. Tell them to give it bad, dog.
If I could talk trash to one team, it's the Redskins because we kill them.
Yeah,
we kill them.
You do. So much of the look, man. Everybody's been killing us of late.
But I don't know what it is.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be so great. It's going to be so refreshing when this thing turns around.
It is.
I'm telling you, man. I cannot wait.
I'm with you.
I'm going to turn around for the Redskins, Louie. I'm sorry, Louie.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I'm going to turn around to the Redskins. Look. Somebody got to be the Browns. Somebody got to be the Bengals. Somebody got to be the Redskins. Y'all just got to be what y'all are.
Nah, it don't have to be that way. You say the Bengals was good under Marvin Lewis for years. They just didn't win any playoff games. Marvin Lewis was taking them to the playoffs. They were winning double-digit games every year. You don't have to. It doesn't look when you talk about divisions, you're only as strong as your weakest link. When we talk about the really good divisions in football, you gotta have everybody beating up on everybody. It's not fun when you got a team like us last year, 0-6 in the division. Like, I don't want anybody. The thing that I despise the most is when teams look at their schedule and they go, "Oh, they go to Redskins. That's a win." And you start counting wins, and we're one of those wins. We used to be able to do that to people where we would look at a schedule and I say, "Oh, we got the Eagles. That's a dub." Cowboys, oh, that's a little tight. Oh, we got the Giants at home. That's a win right there. We're that for everybody else. That's a win. Everybody's looking at us on the schedule like we gotta get that one. If we don't beat the Redskins, changes must be made.
Louie, I'm right there with you. Well, I feel the same way. Everybody,
one question.
That's a dub.
Before we get out of here, I got one question for all of you guys. I just want one bold prediction from you guys. So I'll kick it off. I think the Eagles are going to sweep the division. That's my bold prediction. I think we're going to sweep the division this year.
All right. LawNation, bold prediction.
I was just going to let Louie Tee go. I'm going to let you go.
The Redskins will lead the NFL in sacks in 2020.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Wow.
That's a really good one.
LawNation.
Dak Prescott will get a fat contract. And on top of that, Dak Prescott, man, I'm telling you, Lord Brunson, we'll start doing this separation from being the quarterback that y'all think that he is, and he will be on the top of everything. Just sit back and watch.
Let me get these super.
I made a vow to myself. I'm not finna say the other word. You know, I just want us to just play within the confines of ourselves. I'm not finna do the thing. You know what those Cowboys fans say. You already know. I'm not finna do it.
Hate with Dak Prescott. The man was literally in the MVP conversation after the Lions game last year. After the Lions game last year.
Conversation, Louie, after week 3. They played the Giants, the Redskins, and the Dolphins. And they said they were going to the Super Bowl.
No. Look, they got off to a great start, but what I'm telling you is the man was playing at a very high level. You can only destroy the competition they put in front of you. What you want them to go play campaign? They ain't on the schedule.
Let me ask you this though. Didn't the Dolphins beat y'all last year?
They did.
Okay.
They beat us.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. That's all I wanted to know.
Didn't the Jets beat y'all?
Hey, that's all I wanted to know. Look, I'm trying to run back from the conversation. Let me moonwalk, right? You know?
Bad, what's your bold prediction?
I'm going to get 1 second. Michael Swenson, thanks for the super chat. Brilly says, we have a full season. What are your team's division record predictions? That was the first question I asked these guys at the Mitchell. I'm sorry, I called you Michael. Mitchell Swenson. The very first question I asked these guys was that. So if you want to rewatch the stream or go, back, it's the first question I asked these guys. So we talked about that very early. My man, Johnny Letourneau, one of my favorite Eagle fans. Brilly says, Stella! Baddog, Lord Brunson, teach these guys about football. The whole Eagles flying and stuff, and the Cowboys stink, and the Giants. Thank you, guys. I got 2 bowl predictions.
Okay.
First and foremost, Daniel Jones is making the Pro Bowl this year. That's a bold prediction.
If he makes the Pro Bowl, he'll be a 9th alternate.
Daniel Rodgers.
I didn't say how he was going to make it, Louie. I just said he was going to make it.
You funny for that one.
Prediction, right? I'm making
the Pro Bowl. That means he took a second job cutting grass.
He'll make the Pro Bowl. Second bowl prediction: Chase Young does not have a sack against the Giants this season.
I'm gonna cash that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call your bluff on that one. I'm calling your bluff right now.
I know. I don't think you're getting one against the Eagles.
We gonna look.
We held the tank in check for a couple of years, so he got his first one.
Hey, I know how to find Nate Solder. You can't hide him.
That's true. If you're gonna line shape, that's true.
You don't just have to line up on one side. We know how to find Nate Solder.
Not gonna lie about that. That would be good. Not gonna lie about it. Maybe I should have made that a little different when he lines up against Andrew Thomas. You won't.
Okay. That sounds a little bit better.
Maybe that is a little better. But listen, it is 10:45, and again, I'm gonna wrap it up. I've held you guys here long enough. Again, Lord Brunson, LawNation, Louie Tee, you guys are amazing.
You hit mute, man. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you don't
hit the mute button. You hit the mute button.
That's what the Giants gonna do this year. You know that, right?
I don't know why that I hit the mic.
Why you ain't saying louder, Law?
That is exactly what the Giants going to do.
As I was saying, I really appreciate you guys coming on. This was awesome. I've had a lot of fun, man. You guys are great. This is why I wanted to do this. I hope we can do it in the middle of the season again. I'd like to work with each of you guys during the week that the Giants play. And again, I don't care whose channel we do it on. Great conversation. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Again, if you guys haven't done so in the chat, do me a favor. The link to all 3 of the channels are in the description. Sub each and every one of these guys up. Sub them up. Click that bell notification. That's why you know when they upload content. You're not going to regret it. This was phenomenal. One thing I noticed about each of these guys' names, they all start with L's, which is what I'm hoping the Giants hands each and every one of them.
Good one. Good one.
I figured I had to go out with a bang.
How long did you hold on to that one? He
had that one in the chamber for the longest time. He was ready. He said, I'm gonna save it for the end. He said that's a mic drop right there.
That was his golden chance, right? Right.
That was the way
I guarantee you. I want you to do this, Baddog.
Yes.
Before every press conference, I guarantee you, this coach will say, "How you doing, guys? Just watch. Just watch." Just watch, because I heard it for 13 years. Just watch. Just count them.
And how many? I wonder what the over/under for this is this year.
Yeah. But man, I didn't like this at all. I enjoyed every bit of it. I loved it. I love when people speak raw. It was nothing scripted. So shout out to y'all teams, man. May they be good until they play the mighty Dallas Cowboys. I want you guys to also grow on your pages and your channels. And hey. This type of stuff we need it, and especially when the season kick off. Don't be dodging, don't be running, because I'm coming. I'm coming.
Don't be getting faded like Zeke.
See, that's a low one, man. Appreciate it.
All right, y'all, man. Have yourselves a good night, man.
Hey, y'all take care.
All right, guys. So for Lord Brunson, LawNation, and Louie Tee, it's a bad diggy dizzle. Have a great night, all. We are gone. Peace. And I got to hit end broadcast.